Jacob's grandma lay sideways on the couch, with panic still evident on her face. Grandma already had high blood pressure, and so many invaders must have terrified her. Jacob clenched his fists, turned towards the elders, and released dozens of sword energies. Every single sword energy pierced into their skin. Henry had the golden armor to protect him, but they didn't. The sisters' bracelets were known as the supreme treasure. Even in the heavenly realm, they were considered powerful treasures. They could not only set traps to capture these elders who hadn't reached the heavenly dragon realm, but they could also suppress the nature essence of the 8th level realm once the enemies were captured. Even though their foundations weren't destroyed, their nature essence was sucked away entirely by the bracelet. The elders would need months of cultivation to go back to their original realm. Therefore, they couldn't resist when Jacob's sword energies pierced through their bodies. They could only frown and endure the pain.
Master, you are too generous with these bad people.
Jade raised her hand and sprinkled a bundle of gold flowers. These prickly gold flowers pricked the elders' faces and caused them to grimace from the pain. The best part was that their mouths were blocked and they couldn't yell, even if they wanted to.
Julia, teach them a lesson too.
Jade yelled to Julia.
Oh.
Julia nodded obediently. No one knew where she got her long whip from, but the whip created a loud sound against the floor. This long whip was made with a silver-colored material. It was shiny and looked like it would hurt if it were used to whip someone. Both the prickly gold flowers and the silver whip were both normal weapons instead of treasures. Jacob looked at them and had a weird feeling. Let's wake Grandma up and we'll talk about the rest later. Jacob walked to the side of the couch and held his grandma up.
Okay.
Julia put the long whip away and took out a low-level spirit replenishment pill. She used water to dissolve it and fed it to Grandma using a cup. Even though she had her own weapon, she was not used to teaching people lessons.
Master, what should we do with these people?
Jade guarded the elders and asked. Seeing that his grandma would wake up soon, Jacob couldn't think of much. Throw them all into the ocean. These were the elders of South Atlantic anyway. They definitely wouldn't drown.
All right.
Jade held a bracelet in each hand and opened the back door. She found that the elders' bodies were too big and bumped into the door. Then she recited the spell in silence. 2 bracelets both tightened up to the point where they almost squeezed out the 16 elders' internal organs, and that was just enough to drag them through the door. She threw them toward the sea with force. The elders flew into the sky at a height of a few hundred meters. Jade chanted the spell again to retrieve the bracelets, and the 16 elders, who hadn't recovered their nature essence yet, were dumped into the ocean like trash being thrown out. Jade and Julia's powers had only recovered to the 8th level, but their natal treasures weren't from the mortal world. The elders, who were above 7th level, were just unlucky to encounter Jade and Julia. Jade and Julia didn't beat them up too much because they were in a good mood. At this moment, Grandma slowly woke up. When she saw the coffee table and cabinet broken into pieces, she looked at Jacob nervously. What just happened? Some robbers thought that our house was empty and broke in, Jacob said. Where are they now? Grandma asked. I called the police and they took them away. We are too isolated from the city. It is not that safe. Grandma turned to look at Jade and Julia. Are you two all right?
No worries, we're perfectly fine.
Jade clapped her hands and walked in through the back door. I am so useless, I got scared of them. My head is still a little dizzy now. Grandma rubbed her head and sighed.
We didn't expect that this kind of thing would happen. Go and rest, Grandma. We'll clean up.
Julia helped Grandma to stand up. Okay, I'll go sleep for a bit. Grandma was still in shock and walked to the second floor with Julia's support.
Master, there's still that kid outside. Should we take care of him as well?
Jade came up to Jacob and asked. Jacob walked out of the door, and Jade followed him. Henry, who lost his natal treasure, was pinned to the ground by Snowflake's front paws. Henry still tried to struggle. However, Snowflake suddenly sat down and used its body weight to press Henry down on the ground. Seeing Jacob walking out, Henry turned to Jacob with difficulty.
What is it to have a spirit beast help you? If you're strong enough, why not fight with dignity?
Fight with dignity? Jacob looked at him scornfully. Bringing 16 elders to attack my house is fighting with dignity? Since South Atlantic didn't care about the rules, he didn't need to be gentle to Henry. Initially, he thought Henry was young and could be molded into a good person. Looking at him now, this kid was too far gone for redemption and did things without caring about the consequences at all.
As long as I get my natal treasure back, you can't win against me in a fight.
Henry faced Jacob and continued shouting. I'm done with his stupidity for the day. Throw him into the ocean as well, Jacob said indifferently. He walked over, picked up Henry's golden spear, put it into his hidden space, and waved at Snowflake as he pointed at the ocean far away. Snowflake was extremely smart and understood what Jacob meant. It used its teeth to pick Henry up by his shirt's collar. Then it flew him to the ocean. Snowflake flew further and higher before suddenly opening its mouth to let go. The severely injured Henry was dropped into the water like a missile. Seeing this scene, Jade smiled pleasantly. Please just take care of my grandma. You don't have to get involved with other things, Jacob said to her while turning around to walk back to the house.
Julia and I don't want to get involved with other things, but your matters are also ours. If South Atlantic dares to hurt our master, we will go to their palace and make them pay.
Jade frowned and said. Jacob smiled and walked up the stairs to check on Grandma's condition. Underneath the sea surface, the situation was changing subtly. 16 weak elders of South Atlantic fell into North Atlantic's territory and were immediately sent to the North Atlantic Dragon Palace. Similarly, Henry, whose dragon core was injured for the second time, couldn't escape from the soldiers of North Atlantic. After 4 hours, Grandmaster Hank, who was notified, appeared at the entrance of the North Atlantic Dragon Palace angrily. Dracon, who stood at the entrance to greet him, seemed to be in a good mood.
Hand back my people!
Grandmaster Hank spoke sharply as his entire body trembled. Why are you so angry, Grandmaster? Our clans had been allies. This time, your elders and Crown Prince encountered strong enemies and fell into our territory by accident. We are taking care of them attentively. Grandmaster Hank suppressed his anger, but his facial expression darkened. Dracon's intent and warning were clear as day. Now that South Atlantic's elders and Crown Prince were held hostage in the North Atlantic's hands, they needed to think twice before doing anything. Don't worry, Henry isn't too injured. As long as he rests up, he can leave here any time. However, those elders are in critical conditions and can't be moved temporarily. We must try our best to help, Dracon said slowly. How could Grandmaster Hank not understand the hidden meaning? North Atlantic would keep Henry for a few days and then release him, but they would fully control the 16 elders. According to the plan, Grandmaster Hank wanted to utilize his clan's power advantage, focus on the problem caused by Jacob, and give North Atlantic a hard time. However, the situation turned around too fast.
Just go back, old man. Maybe after a few days they'll feel better and we'll return your stupid grandson back to you.
The little boy, who came to see what was going on, saw Grandmaster Hank's twisted face. Thinking it was funny, he couldn't help but say something.
You little brat, this is no place for you to talk.
Furious, Grandmaster Hank didn't have a place to vent his anger. When he heard this strange kid speak, he swung his hand instantly. The little master didn't see it coming. A solid slap landed on his face and knocked him to the ground.